Welcome to another episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Michael Yarbrough. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem. So, you have a real interesting story to tell, and I want you to explain. First off, I want to say, um, my condolences for all the people that lost their life on 9/11. Before we get this started, and I want you to explain a little bit of your background, and then we'll get into the story that you have for us.
Okay, yes, I'm a first responder as well, and I give my condolences to all those victims in the World Trade Center. Uh, my sister was an airline stewardess for 25 years, and she had died that same year. She retired from uh, Delta Airlines, and I was really afraid for her back then. She died that same year in March, and they crashed into the building that September. So
Wow.
it really came close to home for me. And not to mention, I'm a first responder, retired corrections officer for the state of Michigan, Department of Corrections. Uh, anyway, make a long story short here. I was talking about Jimmy Hoffa uh, back in 1975, of July the 30th, 1975, on Wednesday, that hot afternoon, approximately 3:20, I walked upon the scene of a murder. And as a young man, fresh out of high school, I was just 18, had just turned 18, not even 2 weeks prior to witnessing the mob kill this man. I didn't know him from a can of paint, actually. I hated history, I hated government when I was in high school. So I really didn't know about the mob. I didn't know about the Teamsters or none of that. I was from out of town, Benton Harbor, Michigan. And my sister called me up to Detroit and said, "Hey, Mike, come on up here before you go to Fair State College in Big Rapids, Michigan." As a freshman, I came up here. She said there's a lot of jobs in Detroit. They're hiring in the auto industry and the Renaissance Center, the factories and stuff. So I came up here. I drove my old 1975 Pontiac up here, and I met them, her and my older brother in Inkster, Michigan, which is about 20 miles out of Detroit. Uh, so I drove down to Detroit. I saw on the news that morning that they needed to hire fill all these positions. They was doing phase one of the Renaissance Center. They was complete with that, so they invited the public into the building. They was getting ready to start phase two, which was the area of control where they buried Jimmy Hoffa at Tower 300. It was just starting. It was phase two. They had two phases, phase one and phase two. So
And that's
phase
like,
one was complete. So they invited.
what is
I'm
that? Like
sorry.
a, is it like a stadium or something they were building, right?
No, it's a tall skyline building which housed several office spaces, and it housed the Western Inn Hotel, which is one of the tallest hotel buildings in America. It sits downtown on the skyline of the Detroit River. As they were building this Tower 300, uh, they come to find out the mob owned the contract to the cement company that were pouring the cement that day. So it was 100% controlled by the mob. Uh, Turner Construction Company out of Chicago had the contract. I found that out down at the city county building several years later. I think around 2009. I did some research, went back to see if that same map was there, and they said it had got caught on fire in the basement, mysteriously caught on fire. And I went up to Lansing to see if I could get it in the archives, and it was not there either. So only way you can get it is through the feds or the architect that built the building. But anyway, uh, I came down to apply for a job at Clean America. So I asked the security guard down at the Renaissance Center, I said, "Where's Clean America?" He said, "You go down the escalators to the ground floor and make a right." I went down the escalators, and for some odd reason, I made a left, which took me through the complete tower of Tower 200. As I came out of Tower 200, there was this plastic and do not enter signs, construction area. Don't come in without a hard hat, steel toes, or goggles or whatever. So I heard at this point while I was standing there, I heard someone screaming real loud for help. So I said, wow, maybe it's a construction worker that got hurt or something. Maybe I can help him. So I went down through there and from that entrance way, I wasn't supposed to be in that entrance way. I went down through there, and it took me a level down lower than the ground level floor. So as I was down on the ground, the floor lower than the ground level, I looked up about 20 feet, and there was in front of me there was this big 8 foot wooden fence all the way around. There were yellow cords hanging, lights, dust flying everywhere. It was just terrible, man. I was in an area where I shouldn't have been, and there was a few people working, not a whole lot of people. I heard a guy over here saying, brrr, he was drilling on the concrete up there where I was looking at, and then to to my right, directly up above me, was these two men, and they had another guy in the middle holding him by the arms. And the two men that was holding him had on black suits, black tie, white shirt, and these black dark John Belushi type shades. And
So they were on the upper
behind
level.
them,
Like
yeah,
they
up on
were
the
on
back
the.
up on the ground floor level, I was looking up, and it
Yeah.
was all dirt. It was like all dirt up there, like a dirt road from the Bobian entrance and Atwater entrance on the east side of the building structure. And behind those three men was a burgundy Mercury Marquise, a 1975 burgundy Marquise with the lights on. The trunk was up, and I saw this chubby, fat white man sitting behind the wheel. I don't know if that was still Chucky O'Brien driving or what, but he was allegedly within that 20 to 30-minute time span from the Marcus Red Fox where Hoffa had got abducted. And to those guys, those three guys, right from behind them was a cement truck. It was sitting there, and the ball was turning real slow. And a gurney was coming down to this big hole that it looked like a structure of a pillar, a big pillar that they were building. And I could see three levels of cement had already cured already, and there was another fourth level which was not cured yet. It was empty, and they pushed the guy that was in the middle. They pushed him in the hole. He was screaming for help to the top of his voice, and as they pushed him in the hole, uh, he had a light blue shirt on, and some uh, dark colored either blue jeans or slacks, and no tie on. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't know he was Jimmy Hoffa until, well, let me get back to where they pushed him in the hole. Then the cement truck started turning real fast
How
on the
far
ball,
away?
the
How
ball.
how far away
And
from you? How far away
can
was
you
this
hear me?
from you? Yeah. How
Can
how
you hear me?
far away? Yeah. Yes.
I can't hear you. I lost your voice volume.
Shit. Hold on.
I lost your volume.
Can you hear me now? Hold up. One second. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
Fuck, man.
Oh, my volume is down on my end. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
I can
And
hear
both
you.
of my volumes are up.
Mine is too, man.
All of a sudden, I just lost the volume. Something don't want me to get this message out. I don't know what it is.
Go out and come back in. Maybe I'll hear you. Go out and come back in.
You want me to sign out and come back on?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
We'll see. Yeah, the feds are definitely watching this. Um,
Okay.
can
Can
you
you
hear
hear
me?
me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I hear you now.
Okay. So,
Okay.
how far away from you is this happening? Like the trucks and all that?
As I went down to that lower level up under the ground floor level, which was about 20 feet high, I looked up. It was like 20 feet away from me. I was right up close enough where I could actually see the guy in the middle's face, and I see the other guy's face, but they couldn't tell who they were because they had these dark shades on. But I knew they were the mob. because of the way they were dressed in the black attire and the suits and stuff. That's the way they dressed back then in the 70s. Uh, a lot of these younger mobsters would tell you that they didn't dress like that unless they were going to a funeral, but they was going to a funeral. I mean, they was burying him. And while I was looking and they pushed him in, the cement truck, the cement started gushing down on top of him. And at that moment, when I was standing there to my right, another mobster came with the same suit on, black tie, black suit, white shirt, John Belushi shades, and the black shoes. He came up to me when we were face to face, and he took his John Belushi glasses off, and he opened his coat and showed me his gun, and he said, "If you don't keep moving, you're gonna be next." So I threw my hands up in the air. I said, "Man, you got to worry about me. I'm out of here." So as I walked away, I looked over my shoulders, and here he come full force at me, right? So I took off running real fast, and it took me to Tower 400, and I saw a restroom sign say men and women. So I ran into the men's restroom. It was like 12 stalls back then. It only like 4 stalls now. But I got into the first stall, and I stood on top of the toilet, and I was shaking like Don Knotts, man, peeing on myself. And as I looked underneath the stall, I saw this third assailant, which was Thomas Andretta. I found out later, from New Jersey. He stood there about 2 or 3 minutes, not minutes, but seconds. He turned around and left immediately out of the bathroom. So I'm scared as hell. Like, I'm scared to come out of the stall because he had already showed me his gun.
So
So
this is the guy right here that showed you the gun.
yes, that's Thomas Andretta. He's from the Anthony Tony Provenzano crew. He was in Detroit at the time when Hoffa got killed, and he tried to abduct and kill me as well. I told the FBI all of this information back in 2002 of November, and they had my file. They have had my file for over 20 years and have done absolutely nothing but tell me my information is not credible enough. So I've been still pursuing the matter on social media, trying to see if I could get enough people to petition or whatever to get them to go inside the building and find this man, because I know that's where he's at. I can take him directly to the spot. I've taken Michigan State Police in there 2 years ago, homicide. We did a walkthrough in 2018, December the 4th. And 6 months later, the feds came back and told homicide of the Michigan State Police that we had to cease and desist because they had jurisdiction over this case. Well, if you had jurisdiction over this case, then why haven't you went in there and got him out? I mean, they never came to me and asked me to go show him where he's at or nothing. It's always, you're not credible enough. But they jump to the mobsters that tell them he's in a golf course getting pissed on. He's in a dump in New Jersey somewhere, and he's in a football field. He's under a swimming pool. He's in a driveway. I mean, all the people that told him this are affiliated with the mob. As a matter of fact, from the beginning of this whole particular case, the information
when did you first come forward with all this information? Like, what year was it?
After sitting back 20-some years in hiding, I finally got the courage to come to the FBI in November of 2002 to no avail. I've talked to over 12 different federal agents, person to person, face to face, even here at my home about it, and gave them the information, my story and everything, and they still don't seem to want to act on it. I called the feds about a month ago, and asked the agent that's in charge of the Hoffa case. He did tell me that they were going to look into it and try to do something, but he never called me back and told me anything what they're going to do. I
Now,
guess all that's confidential.
There's somebody that corroborates your story, right?
Yeah, as far as my corroborating of the story, Marvin Elkin, he's Hoffa's limo driver. He came forth to the FBI and he's been on the news and everything. He came forth in 2010. So, he came forth some odd 9 years later, telling the public the same exact thing. He heard it from the horse's mouth. Anthony Tony Jack Alone when they were crossing the catwalk over from the Omni Hotel over to the Renaissance Center. As he was lighting Anthony Tony Jack Alone's cigar, he said, he pointed over to the Renaissance Center structure and said, "Say good morning to Jimmy Hoffa, boys." And and then Marvin saw with his own eyes the mad rush for concrete to be poured that day and everything. He was there. He saw the whole thing, but he didn't actually see which tower or where Hoffa was buried. That's the only thing, the only flaw between me and Marvin's story. I was the actually witness. I was the actual witness, eye ear witness that was standing there, and no one else has came forth since 46 years. Nobody else came forth but me. Scary thing, because back then, and even now, everybody fears the mob. They'll come kill your whole family. If you say anything or sneeze the wrong way, you're dead. So I knew that once I found out who the mob was, I knew I better be quiet, because when I came up here and after this all happened, I went back to Inkster and told my family, my sister and brother, I said, after they popped Hoffa's picture on the news saying he were missing, I said, "Wow, that's the man they just buried down in under the Renaissance Center." And my sister and brother immediately said, "Hey, Mike, leave that alone, because that's the mob, and you'll get us all killed, and you get yourself killed. So leave that alone." So throughout the years that came after this, I kept quiet. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to jeopardize my family's life and my life. I had moved back to the from Ben. I wasn't staying here then, but I had went back to Ben Harbor, my hometown, and then I came back up here to find a job in 1977. So I was living in the Jeffersonian apartments with my sisters and stuff on the 20th floor, and I will always see Anthony Tony Jack Alone going to and back and forth down Jefferson because he lived in Grosse Pointe, and I would see him pumping gas. And then one time in 1977, he was actually following me on 4th Street in Shelby, where they used to park their Mafia company car Cadillacs down there with Mafia company car on the front of the cars. That was one of their headquarters, and another one was in Southfield, Michigan, at the athletic club. But I looked over my shoulder again, and I saw Anthony Tony Jack Alone, one of the mob chiefs up here in Detroit, following me. And when I looked around, he turned real fast and put his head, opened up a newspaper, and put his head down in a newspaper. Now, I didn't know who this guy was at the time, but after I found out about this Hoffa case and all this and the mob and everything, I noticed that was the guy that was following me. So 3 people that I identified, that was Anthony Tony Jack Alone, when he put his head down in the newspaper, which Marvin said told him, "Say good morning to Hoffa boys." And number 2 was Hoffa. He was in the middle of the 2 men mobsters that pushed him in the hole. I identified Hoffa on the news the next day. There was this breaking news flash with his picture plastered all over the news, channel 2, channel 4, channel 7, that he was missing. So I found out who Hoffa was, the Teamsters president. And number 3 was Thomas Andretta. I was reading a mobster book by Scott Bernstein. He's a mob expert. Andretta's picture and Stephen Andretta's picture was in his book. So I said, that's the guy that tried to abduct and murder me the day that Hoffa got killed. And to make a long story short about this whole thing, the reason why the feds are following up on this New Jersey tip that Eric Schein out of Fox News and Dan Modell, this journalist out of Washington D.C. is going after, which I told them he's not there. They won't find him buried in no barrel down there, but they're going to pursue it anyway. I don't know. I heard the feds are going to try to dig down there or something, but they're just going to be wasting their time, energy, and resources again, digging for nothing. Because, like I said, Stephen Andretta went to this prison and talked to a mobster in the prison, and that's where this rumor came from that Hoffa was taken by Gateway Transportation from the Raleigh House in Southfield after they abducted him at the Red Fox, Mockett's Red Fox. But see, he was not taken from the Raleigh house and put in no gateway transportation truck and taken to New Jersey. He was put in the trunk at the Raleigh house, I believe, and taken directly downtown on Grand River and directly to the Renaissance Center. It didn't take but like maybe 32 minutes, 32 and a half minutes altogether to get from point A to point B to where they buried him from.
How
And
deep?
Chucky
How
O'Brien,
the piers and stuff? The piers.
mhm.
How deep was it? He couldn't like climb out.
No, he was about 8 feet deep. It's about 8 feet deep. Those slabs of concrete on that pillar. There was no way he could climb out. I mean, I'm 6'5", and ain't no way I could have got up to the top of that after they pushed me out. And then it happened so fast. Once they pushed him in, immediately the cement truck started turning real fast, and I could see the cement uh, uh, gushing out on top of him. He was buried immediately. He was not hit in the head with a shovel. He was not shot behind the head with a gun or anything. They buried this man totally alive, uninjured. His hands wasn't even tied up. They had him by the arms. I didn't even remember if his hands were gagged or not. Excuse me. It didn't look like it. But they pushed him. You could tell they had just took him out of the trunk because the trunk was still up. And
Yeah.
the FBI, I mean the Michigan State Police, found DNA of a hair strand in the back of the 1975 Mercury Marquise, and it came out. Once DNA came out in 2001, they discovered that it was that of Hoffa, and the four Michigan State Police dogs got a scent of Hoffa scent in the back seat and in the trunk of the car. So that let me know that yes, I mean he was in the trunk. They had to put him in the. They beat him. We got two witnesses saw them beating something in the back seat after they left the Marcus Red Fox. Uh, there's a guy named I can't think of his name right offhand right now, but he's got a book out. I can show you the book. I don't know if you can see it on the picture here, but he wrote this book. I don't know if you can see it, but it's called
Hmm.
Jimmy Hoffa, The Gap. Can
Yeah.
you see it?
Yeah.
But his name is on that book, and I can't. His name is David W. Tubman. You might want to Google that. It'll give you uh, it'll give you all the information you need. It's called. That's the name of the book. Jimmy Hoffa, Missing in the Gap. I don't know if you can see that or not,
Yeah. I
but
could see it.
okay. But yeah, David Tubman wrote that book, and he's talking about his mom and dad back then saw the mob. I saw they identified Chucky O'Brien as the driver because his dad knew Chucky from restaurant experience. His dad owned restaurants back then, and him and Chucky came into play several times while he was working at Mandy's restaurant down 7 Mile in Lasher, I think it is. But he identified Chucky as the driver, and they also identified the mobsters that were in the car, and they had suits on, black suits.
Yeah.
Uh, and though I believe that was the cleanup crew that came down here from New Jersey, Anthony Tony Provenzano's crew. They were the cleanup crew. Stephen, I don't, I know Stephen was here, and I know Thomas was here because I saw Thomas with my own eyes. And I think the Brigulio brothers came as well. Gabriel Brigulio and Silverato Gabrielio. They were down here, and they might have been the two guys that had Hoffa by the arms. I'm not sure who they were, but they're
Yeah.
all clean cut guys. They were young back then in the 30s and 40s, and they're not the ones that represented a threat to me. They represented a threat to Hoffa directly. They were the ones probably that was beating him up in the car, and
Hmm.
they might have picked up an extra person when they got to the Raleigh house, which might have been the Andretta brothers, Thomas and Stephen Andretta. And they proceeded down from US 24, which was Telegraph Road from the Red Fox, Marcus Red Fox, to the Raleigh house, which was still on Interstate 24 in Southfield, Michigan. which was the crossroads to Interstate 5, which was West Grand River Avenue, which take you about a 9-minute ride to the Renaissance Center downtown direct. So it, like I said, it was no more than about 32 and a half minutes from point A to point B to dispose of his body uh, properly. And it was so quick. Man, they had it mapped out real good. You know, the day before they had a meeting down on Grand River. All the mob bosses, Thomas Andretta, Anthony.
Is there like proof of that they were all meeting at that time?
Yeah, yeah, it's in Stephen. Check with Scott Bernstein. Called a Gangster Report. It's all in the Gangster Report. He's the one that wrote my story about the Hoffa hit. Scott Bernstein's been on this case for a long time. He's been researching it for a long time, and you know, even Hoffa even had a meeting with Mayor Coleman Young that year. The same day, he had a meeting with Coleman Young trying to do a quid pro quo of the city. See, and that didn't materialize because he got killed. But during that year, this is what all brought the whole thing to fruition. Uh, Richard Nixon didn't want Hoffa in the office. You know, Hoffa wanted to run for Teamsters president in 1976. Nixon didn't want him to run because they had Fitzsimmons over the Teamsters pension fund, and they were doing great. They didn't need him. They didn't need Hoffa anymore. Plus, he let Hoffa out on the grounds in 71 that he didn't want him to run for Teamsters president until 1980. Well, Hoffa was headstrong. He wanted to be back in there and get that power back. Hoffa ended up being a token, you know, because the Renaissance Center was built because it was supposed to bring back Detroit. Detroit had went down to nothing. You could hear your voice, the echo downtown. It was a ghost town. So Coleman Young decided to build the Renaissance Center to
Is it
bring back
one of those buildings?
Detroit. You know, that's
Is
the
it
Renaissance Center, right?
Yeah.
Now that building was to represent a renaissance of a new birth. That's why they called it the Renaissance, because that means new birth. It was representing the bicentennial year, the spirit of 1776 and 1976. Okay, 1976, they had a ribbon cutting to open the building to the public, which was all those positions were supposed to be filled, which brought me down there in the first place to get a job. That's how I saw Hoffa get killed,
So
because they
what
was going
time?
to have a grand opening in
Yeah.
76.
What time in the day was this that you witnessed all that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I can't hear you. I had a phone call and it zapped out my
Oh
voice.
shit.
I
You want
had
to
a phone
go out
call.
and come back in? You want to go out and come back in?
I can't hear you. I had to blink out and come back on. Hold on a second.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna have him answer your questions in a minute when he comes back in and he can hear me.
Can't even blink it out. It won't even cut off.
So I'm gonna ask him some of you guys' questions. So do you guys believe his story? I got a couple questions for you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. I'm sorry.
All right. So let me see. Does he have any ties to Kilpatrick?
Who is
I
that?
don't know. I don't know.
You say, do we have any ties to who?
Kilpatrick? I don't know who that is.
Well, Kilpatrick used to be the mayor here in Detroit. He's not anymore. He went to prison, federal prison, for RICO statute. But Donald Trump let him out, so he's back. He's a preacher now. He's not. He don't have anything to do with the Hoffa case. He wasn't even born yet.
So you said you were 20 when this happened, right?
No, I was 18. I had just turned 18. I was 17. My birthday was July the 10th, 1957. My birthday was July the 10th, 1975. I had just turned 18 years old. Just graduated out of high school in June that year. And I was getting ready to go to Fair State College with my sisters up in Big Rapids. And that's when one of my other sisters who graduated in 75 from Fair State, she moved to Detroit, Inkster, and called me and asked me to come up here because they had good jobs. Maybe I might want to consider that before I go to Ferris, you know. So I
Yeah.
came up here and I drove my 1970 Firebird Pontiac up here and parked in the parking lot at the Renaissance Center. Back then they had parking lots where you could park right inside the building and just get out the car and go through the door and shop in the mall, everything up in there. They had a movie theater, mall, everything in their office space, the tallest hotel building in the world. So I went in there, and that's when I ran into this man getting losing his life, and I almost lost my life that day as well.
So, have did they come back around and threaten you more after that? Did you,
I
you said you,
I lost you again, man. I can't hear a word you're saying.
damn, you want to go out and come
I
back in
lost you
again?
again.
You're gonna have to
Okay,
go
hold
out
on. I'm
and
gonna
come
cut it
back
off
in.
and come back again.
All right.
Hold on a minute.
Keep saying Ramundi had something to do with it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I don't know why the volume. I think people keep calling in on my phone, man, and I
Yeah.
don't know why. And that throws everything off. I got a lot of calls keep coming in, and I block some calls out because I know they would be calling, but now my fiance's calling. She's gone somewhere and she's called. I hope she's okay. But I'm gonna have to cut this short and call her back and see if she's okay. Okay.
All right, man. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for joining me, man. And I'll have you on again, and we'll talk about this more.
Yeah, I hope we can get in on a better time, man, at later at night or something when they ain't getting so many phone calls.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have you back on again.
Thank you, man. I mean, it'll be better show.
Yeah, no problem.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
All right,
All
man. Have
right.
a great
Thank
day.
you.
All right.
Hey, how can I see this? How can I see this show?
I'll send you a link.
Okay. Thank you very
All right.
much, sir.
No
Bye
problem,
bye.
man. Thank you.
Yeah.
How you guys doing? Do you believe him? Do you believe the story? Or do you not? Press 1 if you believe the story and put a 2 if you don't believe him. There are some people that do believe his story, man. I mean, he said he went there with the state police to do an investigation, and he said the feds kept like impeding on the investigation. He said if they do ground penetrating radar and do like a drill inside the wall or something, and he said if they pull the drill out, it'll be DNA, and they can test that and find out. What's good, man? Gas or Trash. Make sure you guys go check out Gas or Trash, my boy J Dubs, man. It's a dope show where you could send your music in, and he'll play your music. Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty he didn't fail the polygraph. It was inconclusive. He did not fail the polygraph. And his polygraph was inconclusive. Yeah, I know the feds watching this show, definitely, because they want to know everything that guy knows. But I'm sure they talk to him a lot. Thank you, man. Thank you, Yankees for life. I got a lot more interviews coming. Luciano. I got a lot more interviews coming. Stay tuned, man. I'm trying to stay away from the drama. And it's gonna be good. So stay tuned. I'm gonna start going out and filming stuff like out in the world. So it will be pretty interesting. But today's the anniversary of 9/11. It was a sad day. I remember where I was that day. I stayed home from work because I was all hungover. And I woke up and I saw the plane crash into the second plane I saw. It's like, holy shit. So I was walking to my mother's house, right? I had my own apartment at the time. I was walking to my mother's house and they had an armory. They had a like where all the people from Coast what is it? National Guard. The National Guard, and it was like their post or whatever. They called it the armory. And so I was walking by that building and these dudes were outside with rifles, and I was like, holy shit. They're like standing all around. I'm going to be telling some crazy stories of some things that I've been through. And just like all these guys telling stories, you can believe it or not. I really don't care. I got some pretty unbelievable stories that I can tell you. They're not unbelievable as some stories that I've heard, but yeah, it was insane. And then seeing all those people running. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell if you haven't subscribed to my channel. And right when I hit 3,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away some cash. So stay tuned for that. Or, I mean, I could send it through the internet or whatever, but I'm going to give away some money. So, named Mousy, never heard of him. Took him under my wing. Anthony. No, the Armory in Bristol, Connecticut. It's closed now, but back then they always had you're hilarious, man. Whoever that guy is, he's hilarious. Yeah, the whole town's like it seemed like the whole country was shut down that day. I remember they stopped all the plane traffic. It was like everything was at a standstill. All the schools got let out early. They shut down everything. It was insane. I thought things were gonna start getting real crazy, but it didn't. I remember that day. It was insane. So I'm gonna bring up oh shit, I hit the wrong button. Hold up.
Of the storm today, evacuation gridlock. We'll start with CNN's John Zarella, who's in the Florida Keys live this
Now
morning.
this
John,
is the
good morning,
news
John.
live as it happened.
Morning,
So
Vince. Let me tell you, emergency managers and hurricane forecasters will always tell you can run from the water and you can hide from the wind. That means you've got to get out of the way for storm surge, but you can usually hide from the wind.
I'm Amanda Lang at the New York Stock Exchange, where we could be in for a solid open to the trading day. Stock index futures point to some buying for the broader market and for techs. One sector that could provide a boost, wireless stocks. Nokia is saying it expects to meet earnings targets for the current quarter, but the world's largest mobile phone maker is warning that third quarter sales
Thank
will
you,
be
Primo.
about 5%
I
below
appreciate
the
you,
year-ago
man.
level. This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. The CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story, obviously calling our sources and trying to figure out exactly what happened, but clearly something relatively devastating happening this morning there on the south end of the island of Manhattan. That is, once again, a picture of one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
We could see these pictures. It's obviously something devastating has happened. And again, unconfirmed report that a plane has crashed into one of the towers there. We are efforting more information on this subject as it becomes available to you.
Right now, we've got Sean Murtaugh. He is a CNN producer on the telephone right now. Sean, what can you tell us about what you know?
This is Sean Murtaugh. I just was standing on the Vice President of Finance.
Sean,
Vice President of Finance for CNN.
Sean, we're on the air right now. What can you tell us about this situation?
Hello?
Yes, Sean, you're on the air right now. Go ahead. What can you tell us?
I just witnessed a plane that appeared to be cruising slightly lower than normal altitude over New York City. And
yeah, I thought it was no big deal either. Like, not no big deal, but I was like, damn, it was just an accident. Like a plane maybe just hit the building. And then it was like, you see the other one just coming in. I was like, holy shit. It was like a movie, man. Like, you know, all the pyrotechnics, and it was insane. It was like something you never expect to see.
I don't know which tower it is, but it hit directly in the middle of one of the World Trade Center towers.
Sean, what kind of plane? Was it a small plane, a jet?
It was a jet. Looked like a two-engine jet, maybe a 737.
You're talking about a large passenger commercial jet.
A large passenger commercial jet.
And where were you when you saw this?
I am on the 21st floor of 510 Plaza.
Did it appear that the plane was having any difficulty flying?
Yes, it did. It was teetering back and forth, wingtip to wingtip, and it looks like it has crashed into probably 20 stories from the top of the World Trade Center, maybe the 80th to 85th floor. There's smoke billowing out of the World Trade Center.
Sean, what happened next? Does it appear to you that the plane is still inside the World Trade Center?
From my angle, I'm viewing south towards the Statue of Liberty and towards the World Trade Center. It looks like it is embedded in the building. I can't see from my vantage point whether it has come out the other side.
Sean, what about on the ground or any debris that is hit down there? Can you see
my vantage point is too far from the World Trade Center to make any determination of that.
Did you see any smoke, any flames coming out of the engines of that plane?
No, I did not. The plane just was coming in low, and the wingtips tilted back and forth, and then it flattened out. It looks like it's hit at a slight angle into the World Trade Center. I can see flames now coming out the side of the building, and smoke continues to billow.
Well, generally, is that a traffic area in New York for aircraft?
It is not a normal flight pattern. I'm a frequent traveler between Atlanta and New York for business, and it is not a normal flight pattern to come directly over Manhattan. Usually they come up either over the Hudson River heading north and pass alongside the island of Manhattan, or if they're taking off from LaGuardia, they usually take off over Shea Stadium and gain altitude around the island of Manhattan. It's rare that you have a jet crossing directly over the island of Manhattan.
Just for our viewers who are just tuning in right now, you're looking at a live picture of the World Trade Center tower where, according to eyewitness Sean Murtaugh, he is a vice president of finance, an eyewitness to what he describes as a twin-engine plane or possibly a 737 passenger jet flying into the World Trade Center. It appears to be still embedded inside the building. Sean, are you in a position right now to hear whether any sirens are going, any...
What's good, Thin Great Line, man? How you doing, bro? I have asked her to come on my show. and we'll see what happens, right? I asked her. Trust me, all the people that you want on my show, I've asked them. But if there is people that any of you guys know that maybe you could reach out to, that, or maybe someone that you would like to see on my show, or someone has a good story, I'll put anyone that has a good story, and not anyone, because you know, but it's to my discretion. But if you have somebody that has a really good story, just let me know.
Ambulances, any sort of response to this yet?
Not from my vantage point. I'm probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles from the World Trade Center.
Now, when a fire happens at a big building like this, if anyone in the chat knows, what do they tell you to do? Don't they tell you to run upstairs? To go upstairs if there's a fire in a building like that? I thought that's what.
It is a remarkable scene as we're seeing right now. Flames still coming out of the windows, black smoke billowing from what appears to be all sides. Obviously, windows shattered and steel jutting out from the structure
And
right
Sean,
now.
once again, we're looking at these pictures, and
I
you're
see them
telling
in my
us,
office. I have them on all my TVs.
and you're telling us you believe the plane remains embedded.
I can't tell from my vantage point.
All right. Sean, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you very
eyewitness account there. Right now, we want to go to our affiliate NYW reporting on this as we speak.
Little girl in his arms. Did you see what happened, sir? Did you see what happened? What happened?
Well, I was in the past train and there was a huge explosion sound. Everyone came out. A large section of the building is blown out around like the 80th floor.
Was it hit by something or was it something inside?
It was inside. Because it looked out, everything was coming out.
Everything
all the windows were coming out, all the papers were
What is
coming
on the sidewalk?
I didn't see anything.
Was there any people hurt, do you know?
I just ran and everyone in the past train just ran. I don't know if anyone was hurt, but I assume they were because the windows were all blown out.
An eyewitness on the telephone right now. Jean, what can you tell us about what you saw?
I can tell you that I was watching TV and there was this sonic boom and the TV went out and thought maybe that the Concorde was back in service because I've heard about those sonic booms. And I got up to my window. I live in Battery Park City, right next to the Twin Towers. And I looked up and the side of the World Trade Center exploded right when I looked up. And at that point, debris started falling. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Can you hear anything from your position right now? Ambulances, sirens?
Absolutely.
The Hoffa guy had to go. He had to go call his wife and take care of some things, but I'm going to have him back on the show. So if you missed him, just rewind. You can rewind the tape and listen to what he said. So, but he's definitely going to be back on.
Positively. There are crowds of people downstairs in Battery Park City. Everybody's come out from the buildings. This is the financial area in Manhattan, and there's a lot of fire engines. I can see them from my window.
Jean, can you tell us, I don't know if you can tell which tower it is that's on fire right now, or the kinds of services that are inside that tower?
I can't tell what's inside. It's the northern tower versus the southern tower, and it seems to be on all sides of the building. From what I can tell, the west side, the south side, and it looks like smoke's coming from the east side as well.
Gee, can you see any of the debris currently on the ground area?
Absolutely. I mean, it's continuing to kind of flutter down like leaflets. And at first there was just tons of debris, and it continues to fall out. And it looks like these uppermost floors are definitely on fire.
Can you see any actual people in that area who may have been hit by any of this debris or were not able to get out of the way? Can you see any crowds that may be too close to where they should be? Anything like that?
No, I don't think so. And it's not a highly trafficked area at the base of the World Trade Center. So that's one fortunate thing.
Jean, right now we're continuing to look at pictures of this devastating scene. According to Sean Murtaugh, Vice President of Finance, he witnessed what he described as a twin-engine plane, possibly a 737. He was almost absolutely sure that it was a large passenger jet that went into that plane. Jean, you're saying that you didn't see anything initially. You didn't see a plane actually approach the building.
I had no idea it was a plane. I just saw the entire top part of the World Trade Center explode.
When you-
So I turned on the TV when I heard they said it was a plane. It was really strange.
Were you there living in New York during the World Trade Center bombing?
No, I wasn't.
Fortunately so. When you say a sonic boom, did you actually feel anything? Were things shaking in your apartment?
You know, yeah, you could feel it. It was just a gigantic sonic boom. The TV nearly, it went off for a second and then it went back on. And the windows, you know, you felt the vibrations on the windows.
You were saying it's not a high traffic area usually, but can you guesstimate how many people may be in an area like that at this hour of the morning?
It would be hard to say. There is a huge courtyard between the two World Trade Center buildings, and the only issue might have been tourists or business people out in this courtyard area, and they possibly would have been hit. But the people that are immediately
I sent the link to your Instagram thing, Gray Line. What do you mean? Can't understand how you could sit and watch this? It's part of the history, man. What are you gonna just deny it happened? It's 20 years ago.
World Trade
Like,
Center, I would say at any given time, you're talking about maybe 20 or 30 people at best.
We were talking with Sean Murtaugh earlier, and he said this is not normally an area where you would see some sort of aircraft, certainly, obviously, that low, but in that is not a high traffic area in terms of flights?
I don't know about flights. You know, I have a balcony down here in Battery Park City, and they have that needle sticking out of the top of the World Trade Center. And I've always wondered, you know, if anyone would kind of get too close to the building, you know, and accidentally veer into it.
Gene, tell us a little bit about that area and how emergency crews would be able to access that area. Would that be relatively difficult or easy to access for emergency people?
I would imagine it would be.
yo,
What up?
what's good, bro?
Can you hear me all right? I thought I had my headphones and I fucking left them at home, bro.
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
All right, good. So that
How
was
you
an
been, bro?
interesting guest, huh?
Yeah, I've seen him before, and
Hold on.
I don't know.
I might be going through a shitty area.
He sounds a little
Can you hear me?
believable, man.
He does. He does. I mean, why the fuck? Why are you gonna go through that detailed of story if it's fake? I mean, it's not entirely unbelievable if you ask me.
I mean, it's possible that it was somebody else too.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Absolutely. He could be trying to tell somebody else's story too, but I don't know. Seems pretty legit. Doesn't seem too far-fetched. But
I
you
mean,
would think, you would think the perimeter, you know, where they're doing it and where they're getting rid of this guy, the perimeter would have been a little bit more secure, but who knows? I believe him.
I mean, I'm sure people have walked up on other people doing stuff like that to people in the past. You know,
all the time. I think
Yeah.
a lot of that shit happened back in the day, especially. You know, you didn't have to worry about cameras back then, bro. There was no fucking cameras. There were none.
Yeah, like today. I mean, today you wouldn't get away with that, but
Not at all. Not at all.
and the only thing he's saying is he wants them to do ground penetrating radar and maybe drill, and then test the DNA on the drill. That's it.
I was thinking the same exact thing when he was explaining the whole thing, and before he even finished the story, I could tell where that was going, that they buried him in cement. And that was one of the claims back in the day, that he's either under a building, in a foundation somewhere, because that's where a lot of people said that he was buried in some foundation somewhere. So It's not that I kind of believe the story. It sounds legit.
I mean,
But
for
that
years?
was one of the things I was going to say. There's technology to easily find out. That's why I don't understand why the feds just don't go find and test that area. You don't have to take down the whole building.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you don't have to take down the building.
Fuck, did I lose you?
No, you're good.
No, you just do a couple tests.
Yeah, it's not that hard. He said that. He
Yeah, a
said that
couple field test samples, and that's it.
he said the FBI was impeding on the state police's investigation. Like, we have jurisdiction over this, so you can't do this.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. When he was describing the guys, you know, with the black suits, the glasses like these, probably, or whatever, it sounded like, you know, the Men in Black description.
Blues
or,
Brothers
you know,
and
Feds back in
shit.
the day. That was their uniform. Yeah, yeah. That sounds more like the Feds than it does the mob.
Maybe it was the Feds. But I mean, he does have a guy that backs up his story. He has a guy that backs his story up.
I know. So, hey,
this guy backs his story up, and he's
if they're
still
gonna
alive.
If they're gonna go spend all this money, like you said, expend all these resources to go find out in Jersey, why can't you do a couple samples in this building? That doesn't even make sense. What's so credible about Jersey and not about this building?
Hoffa got taken. Honestly, my opinion is, if he's not in that building, he's probably just in the bottom of a landfill, or they threw him in an incinerator, like this guy just said.
Well, I don't know if you heard this story. It was either Michael or Sammy, one of the two. I don't remember which one. But one of them said that they're almost certain that he was in the trunk of a car, and that car went in through a compactor. They crushed the snot out of it, and it was flat as a pancake when it was done. That's what I was told.
And then there's blood. There's going to be blood and everything all over that car if they do that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. So where's the car?
Bro, there's more conspiracies about this than there are fucking Bigfoot. So, you know, it's crazy, man. I think this guy's story is pretty believable.
Well, they did say that he was buried under home plate in the Yankee Stadium or something like that.
Yeah, I heard that shit too.
Yeah.
And then the story about the golf course of guys pissing on him and shit. Come on, man. I think a guy like that high profile, that's what you got to do. You got to put him in a spot where he's never going to be found.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, or incinerate him.
But that's a dope ass guess, man. How'd you find him?
I gotta connect that. You know, he reaches out.
Of course you do. You got connects everywhere, bro. You're more connected than anyone I know. I swear to God.
I got a lot of people.
That's what I'm telling all your chat. Like, stay tuned for Staxx and what he's got coming up next, because I've seen only half his lineup, and they're all bangers. I don't even know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. They're legit.
Yeah, I would tell everybody who they are, but I don't want to ruin it.
Nah, you know? You gotta leave them in suspense, because the last thing you want is them to put it out there that you got all these guests and them try to fucking cap or say something that it ain't true. Just wait till you see the link drop, and you'll see he ain't playing. Staxx ain't about that cap.
No. Yeah, a lot of people here are saying he's either incinerator at the bottom of the lake.
Day, bro. It's, you know,
beautiful day out though, man.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to be stuck in the house doing this all day. I'm trying to go out and enjoy the day, you know?
Yeah, it's too nice of a day out, bro.
Yeah, my mother's going on vacation tomorrow.
Especially if you're... She's lucky.
She's going up to Cape Cod.
Does that mean a party at Staxx's crib?
No. No party at my house, man.
I hear you, Doug.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Yankees for life. Thank you, Mike Fleming. I appreciate you guys, man.
Yankees for life has always been a positive dude. That's my boy. He's always showing love to everybody. He's always staying positive. So,
Mike Fleming too. Mike Fleming too.
Mike Fleming, absolutely. Who else? Miss Can't Be Wrong. She's always positive. Shout out to her.
Severio. Thank you, man.
Yep.
If I don't pronounce your name right, I can't spell for shit, so go look at my videos. They're all spelled wrong, mostly.
But hey, my bad for not. I couldn't pick up your call this morning because I was actually in my daughter's practice. They were having like a mock meet. She's in gymnastics, so
Yeah.
I couldn't pick up my phone. But yeah,
It's all
we'll
good,
get up.
bro.
If you're free later, we'll definitely get that going this later on today.
Yeah, I'm drinking iced tea today, man. Some sweet tea. It's in a
There you
green
go.
cup too.
Gotta hydrate.
My invisible cup.
I don't know what it is about this YouTube. Every time I start talking, I get fucking cotton mouth. I get dry mouth. I don't know what it is. Every time.
Staxx hosting movie night tonight. Make sure you guys sign up for movie night.
What happened? You chopped up. You got choppy on me. I didn't hear what you said.
I told everyone, make sure you sign up for movie night tonight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm just chilling, bro.
All right, man. I gotta let you go though.
I'm gonna go cook a burger on the grill.
Later and, keep doing your
bro.
thing, and there you go. There you go. But keep doing your thing. Super proud of you, bro. Keep it going.
Thank you, man. All right, bro.
All right, my guy. I'll talk to you later.
All right, later. All right, everybody. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. Yeah, I'll go live tonight. I'll go live and just chop it up. Maybe I'll call somebody and have them come on. But I got some good stuff coming, so stay tuned. Peace.